I could go tie up $100,000 in cash on that property, right? Or I could take that $100,000, split it 4 ways as a down payment on a hard money loan. Now I could go tie up 4 properties.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just like it's the principle of just leveraging that money for higher expenses. But the only thing you want to be careful with is that you just don't want to be over leveraged.
Well, this is important. And let's start the podcast off with this. Plan your work, work your plan. The difference between those who do and those who dream is often as simple as getting started. When I met you, Dylan said, hey, there's this guy named Jacques. I went to school with him. I know him from Paulding, and let's go get lunch with him. When we got lunch, you're right. We were just getting started. We were in the infant stage of our business, as were you. I don't know if you had gotten into it yet, but you had I have to have it mentality.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that too. Like I was 18 or 19 or how old were you when we met? 18?
I was 19.
19. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm thinking like, dude, this kid has to have it and he's going to get it. And so it's been very cool to watch your progression and get to know you. Guys, welcome to the Hustle Up podcast. My name is Clint.
I'm Jonathan.
And today we have a special guest, Jacques. I met Jacques a couple years ago, and since then, he has been killing the game in real estate, learning from mentors, recruiting people into his vision. And Jacques, tell people a little bit about what you do.
Okay.
Hold on, let's clearly define that because I want to just establish instant credibility. What does killing the game mean? Why would he say killing the game?
Well, as far as last time we spoke, you had 16 deals in the pipeline, correct?
Yeah.
And you've been doing this fewer than 2 years?
Yeah, it's been honestly, dude, I think November makes it official.
Okay.
2 years. Yeah.
2 years. So from 0 to 60, you're 21 years old. You've got 16 deals in the pipeline. Now, these are wholesale deals?
No, they're flips. Like we bought everything.
16 flips in the pipeline. And this is going to be great because what did you have when you started?
I had nothing.
You had nothing when you started. You're not legally old enough to drink. And
how old are you?
I'm 21 now. I finally got rid of the fake.
No, but at the time.
Oh yeah, at the time.
You're not even legally allowed to drink. And what did you do? You start watching YouTube videos. You start getting around the right people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was pretty much just starting off with, I had a mentor at the time. This guy, he really put me on to a lot of things, and really just gave me the game of wholesaling. And so he just took a chance on me. And it's crazy because me and him will talk about it now. He's actually a multimillionaire now. When I met him, he wasn't, but this dude is up like crazy. And I think it's just because of the fact that how many people he put on, including me, is just, I think like life just returned it back to him. So I had that same philosophy as well too. I try to put as many people on as well too.
What's the Zig Ziglar quote? You can have anything you want in life.
As long as you can help enough people get what they want in life. I actually have it written on my board in the office. Nice. Literally, I haven't taken it down. It's been up there for like 7 months.
So there's a big lesson there in pay it forward. I was in the car with Tony earlier, and we were talking about the concept of hide the plug versus connect the plug, protect the plug versus connect the plug. It's counterintuitive because we don't always want to give our relationships away, or we want to protect something that's fruitful for us. But if you can live in that counterintuitive zone and connect people, it's going to end up being infinitely more fruitful for you.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's actually, I was talking to somebody yesterday. I was a group of friends, young hustlers as well. You met all of them, Jordan, Will, all of them. So, and I was talking about it. Like my biggest pet peeve is that when I see people who are like antisocial, they don't like to network, they don't like to talk to people. I mean, you're blocking your own blessings when you do that as well too. But even more than that, I believe that I treat relationships the same way that people would treat investing as well too. You have your assets and your liabilities. There's the people that you know that will continue to grow in life that you should invest into having a relationship with those people as well too, because it's the same premise that if Jeff Bezos stepped down from Amazon, a lot of people invest into Amazon alone because of who Jeff Bezos is and his work ethic, his discipline. If he stepped down, the business runs itself, but that stock will take a massive hit because a lot of people will pull out.
Same thing with Elon Musk.
Yeah, it's the same premise as well too. So I know Clint and Jonathan, you guys are hustlers. Like I know you started your first company at 18. You're 26 now. There's no telling where you're gonna be at when you're 40.
27. But
27. Yeah.
Ryan Gallardo has a quote. He said, "Look what I've done in 2 years. Give me another 20."
Yeah, that reminds me of that Tony Robbins quote. That's he's like, everyone overestimates what they can do in 1 and severely underestimates what they can do in 10. Just nobody's thinking about the long game. It's crazy. So let's hear your story. So you said someone put you on. Hey, when you talk, try and be like a fist away from the mic. This thing moves.
Okay, I
but
got
keep
you.
it. Yeah. Okay. So, what you said someone put you on. What did that? How did they put you on? What does that mean to you?
Okay, so as far as like putting me on, it was more of the aspect of when I reached, it was through Twitter, right? Twitter is like one of those platforms that like completely changed. It literally completely changed the direction of my life. Like literally, right?
And you were just on there goofing off, like regular Twitter fingers, like at first.
Yeah, literally just regular Twitter fingers at first. And I'll tell you the exact tweet because I remember it. Like it's ingrained in my head. And so I remember somebody had tweeted out something called like it was like every 2 weeks things, and they posted a check for $10,000, right? And then my mentor here replied, "Oh yeah, you're kind of like me," and he posted up a check for $80,000. And so I thought it was funny at the time. But I saw it said something about like the check was concerning like some kind of real estate business. So people were asking what he does. And I was like, well, it's obvious that he flips houses. And he's like, no, I actually wholesale. And then it's like it triggered something because I was watching a YouTube video a month before. And I was trying to, man, at that time when I was 19, dude, I had just dropped out of college. I only went for 3 days, right? I mean, I was at like rock bottom. I was like, man, I don't know what direction I'm gonna go into or where I'm gonna go at in life as well too. And like, dude, I was depressed like crazy. So I was on YouTube just trying to figure out what's the next thing. And so I was really studying stocks at the time. And so Ricky Gutierrez, the guy I was studying for stocks, he brought this guy on who talked about wholesaling, and that was a month before. Mm-hmm. But he gave like a little simplified version of it. It wasn't enough information at all to go off of. And I was like, okay, that's a cool idea. I wish I could do that, whatever. So being on Twitter and I see Brandon, my mentor at the time, right? This is a guy who looks like me, and he's actually doing it.
What does that mean? Does that mean
he's black? Yeah, he was black from Memphis as well too. Like backstory is that he came from nothing as well too, millionaire now, right? And so once I had seen that, I was like, hey, is it okay if I DM you a couple of questions about it? So I was like, okay, I'm interested. So pretty much we had connected from there. I asked him a couple questions. He told me how to get started. And then he plugged me with some of the resources I needed as well too. And so
is that lenders? Is that what kind of resources?
The resources were mainly like just the Facebook groups as far as like, so if you go to my Facebook right now, I'm in a lot of like Atlanta real estate investor groups. Mm-hmm. And so that's pretty much how I made all my connections. Right now is through that, like through the Facebook group as well to anybody who's in Georgia.
So like online forums where you could just learn with other people.
Yeah, learn with other people, but then a lot of these guys are actually investors themselves as well too. Yeah. So like meeting them and just networking. But the thing was that he gave me the game plan of what he did. I mean, next day, man, I just hit the ground running. Like I did not care because I had nothing to lose and everything to gain. So it was like one of those things, especially like when Clint met me, he met me like 2 months after that, and my resolve was already there. I was already committed to the game.
Had to have it. Yep.
Yeah. It was literally a do or die mentality. Yeah. It was literally do or die for me.
So you say he gave you a game plan, your mentor did. What was and you said you hit the ground running. What was step 1 of that game plan?
So step 1 was pretty much just go driving around looking for vacant properties. So we were just driving around looking for vacant properties. I'll put them in a Google spreadsheet. And so I would take that. I would go to truepeoplesearch.com, which was free at the time.
True People Search?
Yeah, search.com. Type in the addresses. And then I'll go to the county's tax assessor, look at who the owner is. And then so what truepeoplesearch.com, it gives you everybody who's lived at that property address, and it gives you their contact information.
Mm. And so you have to pay for this monthly?
No, it was free.
It's free? Okay.
Completely free. And so I took that. I found the people I was looking for. As far as like I coordinated the name on the tax to who popped up on True People Search, got their contact information. And so my first deal, it happened on November 21st, 2018. I always remember the date of when we closed. And so, and it just means something so much to me because that basically changed the direction of my life, right? And so it took me 2 months to get my first deal. But once I found that person, I had sales background before then. I was selling cars before then. So I still had a sales background, which helped me. Even though, man, I like, with that being said, like with that sales background, dude, that kind of changed the direction of my life as well too. But after I had contacted that lady, I told her like, hey, I'm a real estate investor in the area. I'm nervous to sell too, by the way. Like literally, because I'm 19. I know I don't have the money. Like, I know I don't have the money, right? And so it was just one of those situations. But he had like literally just walked me through it step by step. Got my first deal, and I seen that this business was real, and that's all I needed from there as well too.
And for those people who don't know what wholesaling is, when you say you got your first deal, what did that deal look like? How was it structured?
So pretty much what I did was I basically had a purchase and sell agreement to purchase her home. I put it under contract for $97,000, right? I found a buyer by going to the auctions, or Paulding County auction. I met this guy there, solid dude, right? And so he normally told me that he doesn't normally work with wholesalers. Some investors don't work with wholesalers because of like shadiness. But he's like, and this guy was a multimillionaire, older white guy too. But he's like, there's something about you. He's like, the fact that you're 19 and you're starting this young, he's like, there's something about you that I believe in.
Right. You're selling the energy, the entrepreneurial vision, the dream.
The Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. So it was funny because he actually helped me fill out the contract. I didn't even know what I was doing. And then he was like, you know what? Here, I'll let you make $3,000 off of this. Like, so he was like, he literally helped me fill out the contract. He's like, yo, I'll buy it for you like for $100. And so,
and at this point you're broke.
Oh yeah.
You just made $3,000 off other people's money.
Exactly. I made $3,000. Dude, when I tell you that day, it was just solidified right now. Now it's gotten to a point where like, we don't hit nothing less than 5 figures now. So like $3,000 is like, that's like our marketing. Like that's
like your first deal.
Yeah, but our first deal at that time, dude, for somebody who's 19 living with his parents, that's something solid right there as well too. And then so it was funny. After that, ran into Clint. Still was doing the wholesaling thing.
Where'd y'all run into each other at?
La Bamba.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just how? Just you guys were sitting
Dylan
across.
set it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I reached out to Dylan because I figured, I know Dylan was doing a roofing thing, right? And I figured, they're coming across a lot of properties. Maybe I could set up something to where like they were like sending me some properties my way as well too. I didn't have a system at the time.
Come across a vacant property, hit him up.
Yeah, exactly, right? And so it was funny because fast forwarding 3 months, I had a couple more wholesale checks as well too. I had about like a good like 20K in my bank account by the time like around March, right? So I came across this one property, and then so I went ahead and like started my first flip. And the way I did that is because I bought the house like creatively as well too. So when I bought it creatively, I bought it like subject to. A lot of people don't know that there's multiple ways to buy a house. Like I know 5 ways. I've done a lot of deals to where, and a lot of investors in Atlanta, they like a lot of older investors will come to me to learn because they're like, how did you do that? Right. So I've structured deals where I wrap the mortgage around another mortgage.
Let's hear those 5.
So 5 ways is, so you got subject twos, right? So what subject to, what that means is that you're going to buy the property subject to existing finance, right? So on every single time that you buy a house, there's a security deed and a warranty deed, right? So if you come to me, I'm the bank, and you ask me for $200,000 to buy the house, okay, I'm like, okay, that's fine. But my $200,000 is going to be secured against the security deed, meaning that if you don't make your payments, I get back the asset, right? You get the warranty deed. So you're the owner on paper, but I own the house, but my money's secured against the house as well too, right? So subject to, what happens is basically we transfer over the warranty deed to let's just say if Clint's buying your house subject to, you transfer your warranty over to Clint, but then my money stays in place, and so the mortgage stays in your name though, and then Clint will start to make your mortgage payments on your behalf.
Okay.
So that's how I bought my first house. So that was when I was 19. I paid the lady $2,000. She transferred over the warranty deed over to me. Mortgage balance was $114,000. I sold the house for $174,000. That was a pain in the ass.
So you still have to make the mortgage payments.
Yeah.
But you only had to put up $2,000.
Yeah.
You've got the warranty deed.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you sell the home, I'm assuming you put some money into it.
Yeah.
Right?
That $20,000, like all that money I made from wholesaling, I put it back into the fixing up the property, and I was doing all the work myself with my friends.
Right.
Dude, working like 100 hours a week. I remember you guys, they replaced the roof on there.
Oh, nice. So for what were your expenses?
Wait. But you close and sell at 170 what?
174.
174, and your mortgage is 114, or the payoff amount was 114.
Yeah.
So what were your total expenses for getting to, how much did you net on that?
So netted, I basically saw a check for $47,000.
So you spent about 130 something?
No, so I didn't spend 130. So pretty much what happened was once we went to sell the house, they went ahead and requested a payoff, so that the basically the proceeds from the sale paid off the mortgage that was left in her name. And then after that, I still had to recoup my money that was back out, and then I had to pay my friends who helped me out as well too. And then I borrowed some money from like family members as well too, so I paid them back with interest as well.
So how much was that piece, like the operational piece?
So operational piece was about like 30 grand.
Okay.
So after that 47, I was left with like 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you netted personally like 17 off that.
Yeah.
And how long did it take from start to finish on that deal?
Not worth it.
Learning experience.
Experience, a huge learning. Dude, it was 3 months, and I'll be honest with you, like, I like if I spent those 3 months, the amount of hours I spent wholesaling, I would have made like stupid money, right? But the thing is that I learned so much is about like mental resolve, and just because it was like one of those situations where I had tied up all my money into that thing, man, like all of it, and so I had no choice but to finish that project out, even though I did not want to finish that, man. Like,
so you start with 20K in your bank. You get a check for 47 at the end.
Yeah.
What are you left with as earnings? You get the 20K back out plus the 17, or you get the whole 47?
Yeah, no. So it was pretty much that. It was that 47 at the end. And then I paid out everybody as well too. Don't get me wrong, I was still 19 at the time. I was not doing bookkeeping. All I know is I had a check for $47,000, and everybody got their money back. So that was the thing about it, right? But I know like after it was like I was left with 17. So maybe I took a loss. I don't even know. But I know I had expenses during that time as well too, as far as like livelihood as well too, car insurance, like all that normal stuff as well too. So
subject 2, that's the first one. What's the second one?
So the second one, you could do lease options. Lease options will purchase to buy. So basically with lease option, if I go to you, basically I'll come across as a renter, but I have the option to buy the property at the end of the lease as well too. So we do like do a down payment. It's like the rent to own. That's the second one.
That kind of reminds me of how we do things in my tech company. Like we'll do a proof of concept with you if there's a deployment contract at the end of like the successful proof of concept. So it's like a catalyst for something. It's like we'll do this short-term thing with a longer-term obligation at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I like that. What's that one called?
Lease option.
Okay, cool.
And then also we have seller financing.
This is the third one?
Yeah, this is one of the third ones. So seller financing is one of the things that I know how to do. So pretty much we can create a mortgage. If let's just say, even if you don't own your property free and clear, like if you still have a loan on there, I could still structure it. But let's just say you own your property free and clear, I could basically go to you and basically you'll basically finance your equity to me. And so basically you become the bank in a sense. And so what happens is just like I was saying, the security deed and warranty deed, I'm not going to bring like any money to the table. We're going to structure a mortgage, but it's on our terms. So if I want 0% interest and just principal only, we could do that. But basically it's still going to be written up to where the terms are secured against the security deed. So if I don't make those payments, you can still take back the property as well too. Seller finance. We love seller financing deals just because of the fact that we're basically leveraging the bank principal, but without interest if we structure it right. So it just makes more sense as well too. Like seller finance deals are the best deals. As an investor, if you could find a seller finance deal, like keep it. Like at our company, we pay our guys $2,000 flat rate commission if they structure a seller finance deal, because we know we're going to keep it. We're not going to sell it.
I'm a little confused on that one. Can you do you understand it?
Not entirely. Why does it, but I've got a good question. I'll help us get there. Why is it more attractive as a seller to seller finance? Why would you want to do zero interest and just off the principal?
Okay, yeah, no, it's actually a good question. So, pretty much, we're doing cash offers, but at the end of the day, our cash offer is not going to be at what you want retail wise, right?
It's not going to be asking price because that doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense for
You
us.
want to
so-
find, motivated sellers. That's
yeah.
a nice way of putting it. You want to find people who need cash and have a house.
Yeah, exactly. But then sometimes there are people who are landlords who actually like passive income, but they don't like the job of being a landlord. So I can give you your asking. I now tell homeowners this as well too. Hey, listen, I could give you your asking price, but you're just gonna have to give us time in exchange. Or we could give you this cash within the next 3 weeks, or we could give you your asking price over the course of time, right?
And is that because you're going to be making renovations on the home and selling it for more?
No, so it's pretty much over the entirety. So let's just say if you wanted $200,000, or let's just make it simple, $100,000, right?
On a house that's worth how much? Retail market
Selling
price.
for 400. I bought it for 300, so I want to make 100,000, right?
Yeah. So, but basically, so it would just be over the course of time. No. So
How much time?
what we agree on.
Okay.
So
Are we talking months, years, decades?
It's usually going to be about years, or it could be decades as well too.
So it's kind of like a subscription, like for when you get a software for a year. It's like you can buy the whole thing annual for a 20% discount, or you could pay the month to month at full price.
Yeah. So it's like that, but then think about it this way as well too. When you go and buy a house, who makes the most money? Or when you go to sell a house or buy a house, who makes the most money? The bank. Because over the course of time, over 30 years, you count that interest, they're gonna double up their money.
Yeah.
So right, so it's that same principle. But then, so let's just say if I present a cash offer $140,000, I get that in 3 weeks. Or if you structure, we leave a mortgage in place, and over the course of 10 years, I could get you $210,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But now you're just gonna allow me. Now I can leverage those monthly payments as well too, because we could agree on the monthly payments. Now I could keep it as a rental, and the tenants are gonna make my mortgage payments to you anyways, regardless. But then you're still, over the course of time, you're gonna get more money than if it was gonna be in cash. Almost
Way more money.
Yeah, exactly, right. So we tell them, and I tell the homeowners this as well too. I mean, if you think about it, like, who makes the most money? The bank. Why would you not want to be positioned to bank?
And we'll be willing to put this much down today, put a contract in place that over the next 10 years gets you even above asking price.
Yeah, exactly. And then we tell them as well too, we manage them as our in our portfolio as well too. And they already know we have in-house contracting teams as well too. So I'm like, hey, like, listen, you'll get this money down. You'll get all these payments as well too. I mean, if we miss our payments, you're gonna get back a fully renovated house, and you're gonna keep all our money. And now you can go sell it for how much you want as well too. So you just make more money anyways.
People do the same thing with businesses too, Jonathan. If you can get an owner finance to business, that's a big deal. And here's how we could do creative financing or creative structuring to get you more than what you thought you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I get it. Awesome. So what's the fourth one?
Fourth one, we have contract. It's like a land deed or contract for deed. So pretty much with that gets a little bit more complex, but I haven't done this one yet. So pretty much what happens is that sometimes people they don't feel comfortable transferring over the deed to somebody. So they'll leave the deed in escrow. It's still owner financing, but the deed is going to be in escrow instead. And then, so what happens after that as well too, once you finally get caught up on your payments or pay them that total amount, the deed gets released to you. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Okay. So that's just the concept of keeping money and the deed in the escrow until the deal's
Done. Paid off.
done. Yeah.
Just for security purposes or whatever. Like sometimes people don't have that. It's better. Like some investors do the contract deed for deed instead. Just because of the fact that, like, foreclosing on somebody is not the easiest thing in the world.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not an easy process. Banks don't like it. Banks hate foreclosing on people. They really do. They would rather like short sell half of the time.
Banks aren't in the business of real estate. They're
not.
in the business of money. So if they can avoid foreclosing and deal with the money, then they'd rather do that.
Yeah, exactly. And then the fifth one is short sales, right? So that's just a way of selling a house, but you do that in the instance of where if you're upside down on your mortgage and your house needs repairs, basically the bank will agree to take a loss, even though they're not taking the loss. They're just gonna be like, okay, they're deducting whatever And I hate the fact that the banks say they're taking a loss, even though it's literally just straight interest. Their principal's have already been made back, right? But it's just an interest that they were guaranteed to make.
They're taking a loss on the opportunity of what they would have made.
Exactly. Yeah. So then that's the fifth way as well too. So there's a lot of different ways. I like to do a combination of both. Like I had one deal out in Rockmart, and I structured this back in like December 2019. So I structured a deal where it's subject to, and then I wrapped the second mortgage around there, and I wholesaled it. So when I explain that to people, there are a couple of investors as well too, because some of these investors, they've been in business for a long time. I mean, I've talked to brokers who've been in the game for 15 years, and I'm starting telling them stuff, and they're like, "Well, I've never even heard of that." They're like, "There's no way you did that," and I'm like, "I did it. Like here's the deed. Like, you want to see the HUD statement, right?" But that was kind of like, it was a special deal. My first flip was subject to. At the beginning of the year, we were doing a lot of subject twos, and basically we were just wholesaling them out as well too. Now we've just transitioned to just doing flips, and pretty much we're buying all our properties right now. We got almost like $2 million just tied up in properties right now. That's
awesome. Yo, why did you say that wholesaling can be looked at in kind of a shady way? You said that sometimes an investor will see it that way. Where does it get that connotation from?
The people who do business in it. So some of the people, they see it as a quick come up, and so they do some very, very unethical stuff. Like for one, and I always tell, and when people come to me to try to learn the business, I tell them this as well too, that you want to make sure that you're being ethical at all times, because at the end of the day, if I go to somebody and I tell them I'm going to buy their house for this amount, what's going to happen is that person is going to either spend that money in their head, they're going to go plan to move, they're probably going to go put a down payment on a rental property. Now I'll come back and I tell them, hey, I can't close on your house. Like,
yeah,
I never even had the money in the first place. Nah, it's just like they already did all those transitions or anything of that nature as well too, and now they're just like completely pissed off.
Serious offers only. They just took a boat out on credit.
Yeah.
So being a guy that started with no capital or maybe no guaranteed investors, how did you avoid being that guy?
I made sure I locked up a deal that I know I can move. So it was that relationship I had, like that investor I told you. Sometimes I'll actually send them the properties beforehand. I'm like, hey, what's your thoughts? How much would you buy this at? Boom. And I'll have all the detailed photos. Okay, all right, cool. I know his price. Okay, now I'm just going to work it backwards.
Yeah. So reverse get the money first. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's smart. How many, so you have your own company.
Yeah.
How many people work in that entity with you?
So right now we have 6 overseas assistants. I have 2 in-house acquisition guys. And then me and my business partners, we both do acquisitions as well too. My third business partner, he handles the flipping piece. He has an in-house construction crew. I mean, this guy is like the purple unicorn of like real estate investing. Like, oh my God, it's crazy. So his setup is that he has about 3 crews. Well, no, 3 project managers, and then he has 5 crews. They're all in-house on salary as well too. But this was a guy like last year, he was knocking out 30 houses within a 3-month period. Like literally just flipping, right? And so it's crazy because he doesn't even have an HGTV show, but he has some high quality stuff. So that's kind of how our setup looks now, but we're making some adjustments. Like I was telling you earlier that we're like making some transitions, splitting the company as well too. But now pretty much I'm taking it to the next level, and I'm just about to start ramping up. I just put out a job ad yesterday, interviewing people next week as well too. We're hiring for more inside salespeople.
What inside salespeople?
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening, inside salespeople.
Yeah. What program are you using
To hire?
Yeah.
Indeed.
That's awesome. So, what are your VAs, your overseas people do?
So pretty much they do our outbound marketing. So you're talking about your texting, mainly your calling as well too. Anything that's more in-house, like direct mail, is more handled in-house as well too. But they just mainly do our outbound marketing for the most part.
In-house, as in not with the VAs?
Yeah, not with the VAs.
Yeah.
You said you do inbound marketing?
So we do outbound, but inbound as well too. So we'll place up signs around Georgia as well too. I mean, we had a $60K deal last month off a sign that we had placed on the side of the road.
Hey, to brag on Jacques real quick, I'm at a party on a Friday night, definitely raging. And I think I went to the bathroom, I stepped outside, I pulled up Instagram, and he's got a story. He says, while other people are partying, I'm out spending my night putting up yard signs.
I saw that
this
too.
was late. This was 2 or 3
Yeah.
a.m., right? This is on a Friday night. Monday or Tuesday, I mean, 3 or 4 days later, the story comes up and he says, hey, on my way to go sign this contract, somebody called off the bandit signs we put out this weekend.
That's
I'm glad
funny.
you watched that because that was actually the $60,000 deal
Yeah,
from
I
that.
remember that. I actually do remember that. Which that actually leads me to my next question. In your perspective, how important? And then hold on, let me tie it back real quick because the question is going to be how important is content creation in terms of social media, videos, that kind of stuff. But to reverse before you answer that, you said that a lot of investors are impressed by your deal structure and that a lot of them have never seen anything like that before. And I think that's super interesting because it relates to something we often talk about on the podcast, which is having one foot in technology and one foot at being a physical person, being able to deal with human interaction. And it's because we were born at the time of kind of the rollout of internet to the masses. And so I think that the reason for that is, you know, they were raised or they came up doing things a certain way, and it was kind of echo chambered. Like you didn't have Grant Cardone or Dawson Gant or all these people you could follow learning different strategies from on the internet. You would have to go rent books or you would have to do something like that. And it's interesting because they're like, holy shit, how do you know all this? But you were able to consume a ton of content from podcasts to videos on YouTube to books and create your strategies from that.
That too, but I think a good bit of the strategies I learned were from like the old head investors.
Yeah.
Like I would literally go drive like 3 hours when I was like 19, like go drive 3 hours to go sit down with these people and have lunch with them.
How would you find them?
And so it was pretty much networking. Like really, it was from social media networking. Okay, I know somebody who specializes in what you're trying to do. Let me connect you. Send me their number, contact information. I mean, even Dawson reached out to me to ask me about how to do like a certain subject.
How did he reach out to you on?
Oh, Twitter.
Twitter, and then
Yeah.
your original person came from Twitter. So like the internet has had a significant influence on you getting started, what you've been able to learn. And I think that that's something like you should really be aware of because it's something I use as a benefit for me in the business world is I've grown up since the internet. I know the trends. I know what the hot things are doing. And it'll just work to your advantage. So now that being said, since a lot of your inputs have been from content that's been created, what kind of content do you create? Is that even an important part of generating revenue for your business?
It's not even a fraction of the revenue for our business.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to, and it's just because we've been so focused on that outbound marketing, but I'm trying to change it to where I do more content as well too, especially with the volume that we're doing now. Like I'm doing the volume of the guys who I was looking up to when I started this, that the guys who have like 100,000 followers on like for real estate investors, we're doing their numbers. Like it's not like we're matching them like pound for pound, right? I think I'm actually doing more than a couple of them. And so but the thing is like, I'm just so like low key, like on a basis, like I only have like 800 followers on Instagram. Like I deleted my other account because I had too many followers on there.
Yeah.
My Twitter, I keep it. My Twitter is like pretty more active, but I keep it just because of the fact that like Twitter put me on.
Yeah.
And I met some amazing people on there. But I think I take too much after my business partner. My business partner's a multimillionaire, right? I mean, and this dude's like literally like, if he posted half of the stuff that he does, people are like he's shitting on a lot of investors in the Atlanta area. He's shitting on a lot of them.
How old is he?
He's 37.
Okay.
He started when he was 19.
Word.
Yeah, dude's a hustler. Dude's a freaking cold hustler, right? And so I'm trying to make that transition to where I put more content out because I know that even Dawson as well too, he makes a lot of money, like, and he brings a lot of deals as well too from his social media as well too, from people reaching out. And I've had a lot of other investors hit me up off of my social media. So one of the things I'm trying to do is trying to expand that following because I'm trying to work with more people who are wholesaling in this area.
Yeah.
Like if you have a deal, I'll put up the money for it if it's a good deal. And I tell people this as well too. If you're a wholesaler here right now in Georgia, if you have a solid deal, I'll put up the money for it and we'll partner on it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel that. And then there's also the non-revenue generating impact and benefit of creating content, like putting on the next potential investor. And you meet a lot of, what was the Zig Ziglar quote you guys said?
You can achieve anything you want in life if you just help enough other people achieve theirs.
I feel like that's why we do Hustle Up. Like, it's like we could have had this conversation where the three of us just went and met, got coffee and talked about life and picked your brain a little bit.
The whole podcast started because we're having higher level, higher thought conversations. And we said, hey, it would be a disservice if we didn't record these and send them to our friends.
I love that.
Yeah, so it's like, there's that element of, and the reason I bring it up is because, like, we're obviously huge on content. That's why we have a podcast. And when there's people who are actually, you were at our last event, the Cut the Cap event, when there's people who are actually out making moves and doing things, it's even on a micro influencer local level, like, people just want to see that someone can do it and that people are out doing it. So I just say make content, it may help drive revenue, but more than likely it's like merch. No one's main revenue stream of their brand is coming in from t-shirts.
No, it's actually funny. No, actually, I took that principle yesterday. I actually posted up a deal. There's a video on my Instagram right now of me locking up a $40,000 deal yesterday. So
I saw that you were on a sales call, right?
Yeah, I was on.
Talk about that for a second.
Yeah, no. So pretty much it was just it's a house out in Lilleburn. We haven't even seen it yet. I'm going to see it Monday, but I already have an idea of the numbers because we've locked up. We actually have a house today. Those people are moving out that we bought 2 weeks ago out in Lilleburn as well too. We already got that sold. That's closing tomorrow actually while we're in Arizona, right? But yeah, pretty much with that sales call. I mean, I'm big on sales. Like, I'm very big, and I pride myself on being a solid closer. That's why I have this this gold bracelet. Is TYWIM. It stands for Talk Your Way Into Money. It's a sales brand I want to start, and I'm really big on teaching it. And so I was just showing some people some of the strategies that I use, like on a live seller call as well too. Because on my Instagram, the people who do follow me, they do receive a lot of content. Like, you'll go to my Instagram right now. I was doing like just what we were talking about, some of the principles I was talking about with like just networking. And the other day I was talking about a principle as far as like what mentality you need to have to pursue a task or anything else, opportunity in life, the right mentality, or what's gonna take you there, right? I mean, even like one of the things I was talking about, like from 2 days ago, it was about, have you guys heard, I know you've heard the quote, burn the boats.
Yeah.
Burn the ship mentality. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so I went into it on my Instagram, just telling people that like a lot of people get presented with the right opportunities in life, but they don't attack them with the right mentality. Mm-hmm. And so there's that disconnect of where they think that opportunity is not meant for them, but it probably actually is. It's just that they weren't pursuing it with the passion that's required to go after it. That's why like Clint picked up on it, that I was saying like he could tell I had a do or die mentality.
Right.
And he had to have it. Yeah. It was non-negotiable. It was a matter of time.
Yeah.
He had to have it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's crazy. It's the funny thing about it as well too, dude, is that even 2 years ago when I was still working at Home Depot and I was still a server, I remember I was talking to my mentor at the time. 12 o'clock at night, I was working overnight shifts. And this was like after my first deal. And I was telling him, I'm like, hey, one day I'm going to have a company. We're going to be doing all of this. We're going to have an in-house construction team pretty much. And I was like, I don't know when, but I was like, I'm going to make it happen. That's non-negotiable. I'm going to make it happen. Mm-hmm. Now, if you told me it was going to be 2 years from then, it was something crazy, but it was the fact that we it was that manifestation, but then also as well too. I even told him, I'm like, either I'm gonna be successful or I'm gonna die trying. But that's my only options. Yeah, that's literally it at that point.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And then remaining consistent with that mentality through failure and even through success. Like, some people get so successful that they, people don't understand that the hardest part isn't getting to the top, it's staying at the top. Mm-hmm. And so success or failure can ruin that consistency of determination, relentlessness, passion, all mixed into
there's
one.
There's an age thing there too, right? Because when you're young, your risk tolerance is so much higher. What do you have to lose? Then you hit a certain age, you've got a family, you've got kids, you've got a wife, you've got a house, you've got a car. And there's a mindset shift that happens somewhere between 40 and 50 where you start protecting what you've already built. Yeah. Your risk tolerance goes down. Uh-huh. You don't have the room to go broke anymore.
Right.
I loved what Dawson said last time. I'm 21 years old. I could go broke twice before I'm 25 and still do it all again. Yeah. You've unlocked the keys to success. If you ever had to go back, you could go back to looking people up on the vacancies and grabbing $3,000 checks. But now you're not going backward.
No.
One question I'm curious about is when you're doing a wholesale deal, when you're doing a flip, you're left with a lot of profit at the end of it.
Yeah.
And that's the real estate portion. But when you're running a real estate business, you've also got, I'd assume, marketing costs, maybe rent costs, your virtual assistants. What kind of costs do go into running a real estate business that would be different than if you were just running a solo shop?
Yeah, so the cost that goes in, like, especially with the overhead right now that I'm dealing with, right? So with the VAs, the cost is, I pay them salary plus commission, so they're about $650 each a month, plus the commission that they get paid as well too.
And this is overseas, South America, Philippines,
Honduras.
Yeah.
So those, like, they actually, and they work from home as well too. They're telling me that they're actually getting paid above like what everybody else is getting paid as well too. So they're making good money with us. And then I have the commissions to our sales guys as well too, rent, then the marketing expenses for the software. We're big. So I don't even tell people that I'm in the real estate business. I tell them that I'm more of in the sales and marketing business. And so pretty much that's literally what it is, right? On our front end side, and then the back end is handled by my business partner as far as with the real estate aspect. But front end is pretty much just a lot of software that goes into it, monthly costs as well too. So right now, roundabout costs, we're about like $7,000 to $8,000 a month
In fixed costs.
Yeah, in fixed costs.
Okay. And let's talk about software too. If you're getting into this and maybe you've done a couple deals, you're posting bandit signs and doing cold calls, what kind of software systems could level you up overnight?
CRM, a good CRM.
Put them on. No. Like who?
The sound went out.
Just keep rolling.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So a good CRM will take you to that next level.
Like HubSpot? Or what's your preference?
We use Podio. So
how do you spell that?
Podio, PODIO.com.
Okay.
But Podio is not even directly a CRM. It's basically a platform that you could build a customizable CRM to.
Okay.
And so our CRM is customized, but pretty much the reason why I say that will take you to the next level is just because of the fact that like sometimes people get like a lot of leads, but they don't have that consistent follow up because it sells, right? I know that usually for a deal, it takes 5 to 6 points of contact for you to convert on that, right? And so if you're not tracking how many times you contact these people, or even if where their number is, like how you're gonna you call them that first time, but how are you gonna get that to that 5 or 6 to be able to convert them? So a good CRM is gonna allow you to track those leads properly as well too. So that's to say, I'll say that's the first thing they should invest in. Like if you're getting into this game as well too, like after you have a good bit of leads as well.
How much does that cost?
So you could go on YouTube and you could literally go and search up how to build a Podio. Okay. So like I've seen a video that's an hour long that teaches you how to build a basic Podio that will allow you to track your leads.
For free?
Yeah.
Word.
And what about leads?
So pretty much with leads as well too. So
do you use software for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we pull lists on a monthly basis. Same principle as Dawson as well too. Just because we don't have time to go. I mean, we're building out. I'm meeting with a developer next week because we're actually building out a software to be able to automate driving for dollars. So and to basically driving for vacant properties, we want to have team. We're gonna basically have like a whole bunch of teams going out and build. We're gonna have that built out as well too.
Is this y'all's software or somebody else's?
So it's a combination of somebody else's, but then we're building on top of it as well too. And so I'm building out the back end. So they already have the software where you can have a team built in, but then I'm building out the back end of where I have the VAs handling it, and they're going to be handled the outbound marketing. We're going to have drip campaigns. Drip campaigns basically an automated follow-up as well too. And so a good CRM will allow you to do drip campaigns. So let's just say I haven't reached out to you in like a month. Well, if my CRM knows how to do it, which is coded, if it's coded to, it can actually start to send you automatic text messages on the days that it's already pre-programmed to. So I don't even have to do the follow-up. The CRM is just going to automatically do it.
And it'll notify you when somebody bites back.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the difference between something like PropStream or Lead Sherpa?
So Lead Sherpa is a text blast software. PropStream is basically a data provider. So they provide data as far as like anybody for records, like home property records in the United States. So it's like if somebody's in foreclosure, they have tax liens. But then also as well too, prop streams, they're pretty much connected to most of the MLS systems in the 50 major states. So your major listing sites. And so what that allows people to do, because what's hard at the beginning as well too with wholesaling is that you have to figure out how much these houses are worth, right? But you can't do that off of Zillow most of the time because it's not the most accurate data. So the MLS, I have MLS access. It allows you to see, this is the same thing that realtors have access to, and you have to be a licensed agent to have access to it. So PropStream gives people that access to it, the data off of there, without them being a licensed realtor. So they can actually figure out how much the value of that property is when it's fully fixed up, so they can know.
So what's Lead Sherpa?
Lead Sherpa is just a text blast software.
Okay.
For the most part.
So one's the input, one's the output. Kind of you.
Well, what
Yeah.
I've done with PropStream before is we pulled a list of vacant properties in Atlanta. Let's just call it a 10,000 person list or 10,000 contact list for houses that met a criteria and were vacant. Then we upload that list into Lead Sherpa, 1,000 at a time. We send this text blast out, and let's say 100 people bite back. And it might be, there's a couple variations of the message, but hey, so-and-so, have you ever thought about selling your home? It will also be personal because it's pulled the data from the list and it'll put their first name in there. So it looks like it knows who you're talking to. And then out of those 100 who text back, that's a lead that somebody like Dawson or somebody like Jacque might get on the phone with immediately, pull up the data on it, pull up the prop stream, the MLS info. Now, we've never sold a house like that, but have you?
Bought a house,
sold a house,
we get our, that's pretty much how we get our deals as well too. But the only thing is as well too, like with Lead Sherpa, with the template as far as like that, hey, first name, I came across your property, just want to see if you're interested in selling. Back in 2019, Trump, basically he cracked down on a TCPA, which is the Telephone Consumer Protector Agency, and basically told him that like you need to crack down on robotext. And so the phone carriers have actually been getting more savvy with those messages. So they actually, we use a different software for our text blasting, which we have a higher response rate because they actually have those keywords flagged. So if they see that, hey, would you be interested in cash offer from a certain number? They're not gonna even deliver it.
Yeah.
So if you text blast a list of 10,000 people, probably 95% of that list is not gonna get delivered, just because of the fact the phone carriers are blocking it. But
what's the percentage on your software?
So pretty much we have a way higher delivery rate now. So right now we're at 50% delivery rate.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's way higher as well.
That's
too.
Significant.
Yeah, so, because we changed our template. So the way this software works now is called launch control. Is basically every message it cycles a new template. So it's not the same template coming from the same message, and you have to click it. We have a VA who clicks it. So basically, it looks like a real person is actually sending a text message. That's what it simulates as well too. And then so they actually have other templates as well too that are actually they've contacted the phone carriers from carriers, and they had approved templates by the phone carriers. So basically, we'll be able to push these through as well too.
Cool. What is your most effective way at getting in front of a motivated owner of a vacant home?
Man, we go like, man, we've done everything. Like we've done everything, but I'll say the most effective way is texting. I feel like that's the most effective way. And then calling. And then after that, I mean, my business partner, he's a huge, like, I'll go pull up in your face, knock on the door type of guy. Which he does that a lot as well too.
And if you had an alternate address for somebody, you would go knock on the alternate address, not the vacant home.
Yeah, the alternate address for sure.
Very cool.
So where do you see yourself being or your company being in the next few years?
Okay, so pretty much I see it, and there's no telling, but I mean I have that goal in mind. But for me personally, man, I don't really care about how much money I make personally. You know, like right now I still drive the Kia, even though people know I make six figures, right? But I mean, I could go afford to get a new car, right? But I just don't I don't care about how much money I make personally. My vision, I tell my sales guys is like, yo, I want you guys to come pull up to the office in a Ferrari. Like I want you guys making some real money, right? And so my vision of this is that we're gonna be doing next year 7 figures for the entire year. Right now we're at $500,000, but we only went live in April as well too. And we were still working out some kinks. So we basically like we half-assed and we still hit $500,000 of revenue. So now next year it's just going to be dialed in. So I already know it's going to be guaranteed 7 figures. After that, I want to be able to expand into other markets. And so I want my sales guys, all my sales guys to be making 6 figures.
And if you're flipping 16 homes, how are you, let's talk about where the money's coming from. Are you putting up all the money yourself? Are you using hard money? Do you have other investors?
Yeah, so we use a combination of my business partner, right? But then also as well too, I have private money contact. I call this lady, I literally tell her like, hey, like I need like $100,000 next week. She's like, oh, okay, cool, I got you. Like that. And then if we don't go with her, then we'll go through our hard money. But we haven't even used hard money. We're about to build a relationship with some hard money guys because their interest rates are they're pretty good, especially with the volume that we do. They're like, okay, we'll work with you guys as well too. So we're gonna probably start leveraging them. But we want to, and then you always want to be able to leverage other people's capital as well too, just because it allows you to deploy it so much more as well too, right? Granted, we could take down the properties with the money that we have now, but you know, I could go tie up $100,000 in cash on that property, right? Or I could take that $100,000, split it 4 ways as a down payment on a hard money loan. Now I could go tie up 4 properties. Yeah. Right. So it's just like it's the principle of just leveraging that money for higher expenses. But the only thing you want to be careful with is that you just don't want to be over leveraged. Right. Because 2008, there's a lot of investors who got their asses like burnt because they were over leveraged. And like, dude, the thing about real estate as well too is that like you don't have to be smart to make money in real estate at all. You just got to have a nice smile and just hustle everybody. Yeah. And so I noticed a lot of these investors, they're not the brightest people in the world. Like, I'll be complete. That me and my business partner, we had that discussion. Like, they're not the brightest people in the world. And so one, they become over leveraged, or they make money on a flip, on a wholesale, whatever, and they go buy nice cars or whatever. They don't stack it, right? Because right now, the real estate market, it's at the highest it's ever been, right? I know hindsight, it's not gonna be like this next year, right? So hindsight is that, boom, we're gonna take advantage of this market right now, build up our war chest, so that when the market, and we already know the market's gonna take a turn, so when that market does correct as well too, we have our war chest so we could go ahead and start buying houses cheaper. These other investors, they're taking advantage of it too. But now they're making their money, and now they're going to go to Hawaii and all this other stuff, and they're just going to blow their money. So by the time the market takes a turn, 1, they don't have that money, or 2, they were over leveraged. Because some things that people do as well too, when they do, like, they refinance their properties. Like, a bank will loan you 80%, but if you take out 80% as well too in a market like this, where your home is valued at $200,000, you take out 80%. If the market comes down and your home comes down to a valuation of $160,000, now you just became over leveraged. Now you're upside down. Right. Now let's just say whatever COVID happens, your renter's not able to make that mortgage payment. This is what happened at the beginning of COVID. Airbnb people, they got messed up because travel was shut down. So they had 10 Airbnb properties. They never saved any of their money because they were out flexing on the gram. They're driving their Lamborghinis and stuff like that. They got 10, 20 properties that all have mortgage payments due that month. They got all of them are empty. So you're paying out, they got to pay out $20,000 just that month.
Better find a renter.
So the lady who you have that you said you go get 100,000 from her. Yeah. What if you get 100,000 from her, what do you give back to her?
We give back. So we're short because we're so in and out of our property so quickly. She'll charge us 2% like on principal. So we'll pay her 2% back. And it's like basically we'll get her money back like within the same month, or like within a month and a half. Word. So basically you charge like 2 to 3%.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, cool, man. Looks like you got a lot going on. You definitely know what you're talking about, which is super dope. This is the most technical real estate podcast we've ever had. And it's not my shit at all. So I feel like I learned a lot. So I appreciate that. You spoke about things very vividly, detailed, and most importantly, you covered the how. And that's big something time. Super important. Yeah, big time. That's the key thing about this interview, specifically, not Hustle Up Podcast, but having you on this episode was we really got deep into the how. So we'll be able to make some awesome clippable content. If anyone wants to be inspired by you, invest in what you got going on, where can they reach you? How do they get in touch with you?
Man, the best place to reach me is either my like Twitter, which is JRealBusiness with the D.
Spell it.
JRELBIDNESS. And then we got my Instagram, Jacque _, and he always gets my name wrong. It's all good. I love Clint though. So it's all good. But Jacque, JACQUES _Pierre, PIERRE. Pretty much on my Instagram.
Wait, _Pierre?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, pretty much on my Instagram, you're gonna see a couple motivational stuff in between, but most of the time I'm fucking off. So like you're gonna, it's a mix of both. You're gonna see the reality of like I don't like. It's like, and it's like going back to the content. Like I don't like to be that guy who's just like 24/7 real estate. I like to be like live the life of a normal 21-year-old as well too.
Yeah.
I know I'm not a normal 21-year-old, but I like to like have a resemblance of it somewhat as well too.
For sure. Well, dude, I forgot you're even 21, so hats off to you for being way ahead of the curve. Guys, if you want to reach out to him, reach out to him. This was a super dope podcast. Thank you again. We really covered the how. We'll bring you guys some clippable content. You want to follow us, you know what to do at HSTLUP, www.hstlup.com. I'm Jonathan. Until next time, hustle up.
Awesome.